Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Being something of a masochist, yesterday I had a look at the heavyweight rankings for our four main ruling bodies: the WBA, WBC, IBF, and WBO. And it's always entertaining in a sort of sick way because invariably the rankings, and I'm only concentrating now on the heavyweights. This can apply to probably any division, but for some reason the heavyweights are always consistently bad, the rankings. It doesn't matter where you go. It doesn't matter which ruling body you go to. So I thought I'd share the misery or the humour, the dark humour, whatever you want to call it, with you. And I thought we'd have a quick little peruse through the heavyweight, just the heavyweight rankings of each and every of the four major ruling bodies. So let's start with the WBA. Now, we all know that Alexander Usyk is the WBA champion. Who's his number one contender, do you think? Why, it's none other than the battle-hardened and highly experienced and much-tested Moses Atauma. 11 wins, 9 KOs, no draws, no defeats. A magnificent prospect, but that's all he is, a prospect, coming off a one-round smash-up of pretty much a shot Dillian White. But who has he faced? Like I say, a shot Dillian White, and that's about it, really, isn't it? At number 2 is none other than Mr. Missing in Action himself, Michael Hunter. 23 wins, 1 defeat, 2 draws. Had a little dispute with Don King recently. More fool you for signing with Don King, the 193-year-old Don King. What's he done to deserve a number 2 ranking? Absolutely nothing, of course. Again, this is the WBA we're talking about now. At number 3, undefeated Lenier Pero. Cuban fighter, 12 wins, no draws, no defeats, hasn't beaten anyone, but he's number 3. At number 4, Martin Bakole. His last 2 fights have been a 2-round knockout to Joseph Parker and a draw with F.A. Ajagba. Don't think he's fought anyone since then, has he? Correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, 21 wins, 1 defeat. Number 4 in the WBA's rankings. Number 5, Filip Hrgovic. At least he's had a couple of wins, over David Adeleye, and prior to that it was Joe Joyce, wasn't it? So 17 wins, 1 defeat. The stoppage on cuts to Daniel Dubois was the defeat. He's got 14 KOs. Jarrell Miller, Mr. Large Infant Miller, the PED enthusiast. 26 wins, 1 defeat, 2 draws. Perennial drug cheat, should have been kicked out of the sport in my view, but it hasn't been. And he's number 6 in the WBA's heavyweight rankings. Then we've got an Albanian heavyweight, Nelson Heiser. 18 wins, no draws, no defeats. All right, 16 KOs, hasn't really faced anyone. Number 7. At number 8, Dave Allen. Yeah, that Dave Allen. Now, I don't know whether they've updated their rankings since Dave lost to Akhmadaliev, but their last rankings had him at number 8. What's he done to deserve a number 8 ranking? Go 1-1 with Johnny Fisher. Should have been 2-0, of course, but that's another story. But he's number 8 in the rankings. Number 9, a Cuban brother, another Pero, Daniel Pero, I think that might be how you pronounce his name. If not, I apologise. 10 wins, no draws, no defeats, 8 KOs. Number 9 in the rankings. Then at number 10, we've got another undefeated prospect, really. I mean, I know these guys aren't young, but in terms of actual miles on the fistic clock, they're kind of prospects. This is Gergen Hovhannissian. 9 wins, no draws, no defeats, and 8 KOs, has faced absolutely no one. And just as a little aperitif, a little dessert, a little bit of dessert for you. Who's number 11? Have a guess. WBA, don't forget. I'll give you 3. 1, 2, 3. Manuel Charr. Yes, that Manuel Charr. 34 wins, 4 defeats. Still inside the top 12. At number 12, by the way, is Murat Gasayev. Again, someone who's done nothing at heavyweight. But anyway. That's the WBA. Let's move on to the IBF. Are they any better? Well, Usyk's their champion. It doesn't start promisingly because the number one contender, the slot for number one contender with the IBF is vacant. Now, how does that work? How can you have a vacant ranking spot? I mean, are they trying to find a mandatory contender? Okay, I don't know. Look, number two. Well, what about number two? Who do you think's at number two in the IBF's heavyweight rankings? It's Derek Chisora with about 750,000 miles on his odometer. He's fought everyone, and Derek 13 losses on his record, but at least he's won his last three. I mean, admittedly, it's not against killers, but he has won 3 fights. But number two in the rankings, really? Number three, Frank Sanchez. All right, good fighter. Much avoided. 24 wins, 1 defeat to Ajit Kabayel. He was injured in that fight, but more fool you for getting in the ring if you're injured. Number four, Richard Torres Jr., Olympic silver medalist, has beaten... Well, I say he's beaten no one. He did have a good win over Vianello, Guido Vianello, the Italian heavyweight who sort of runs hot and cold, but nevertheless has some ability. And I thought Vianello fought very poorly against Torres Jr., but give Torres Jr. some credit because he at least forced Vianello he contained Vianello. He put the pressure on him, and yeah, fair enough, you know. He's number 4 in the rankings, but he hasn't really beaten anyone apart from Vianello. Number 5, Daniel Dubois, former IBF champ, now down to number 5. Okay, yeah, no problem. No problem with that. 6, Filip Hrgović. Okay, yeah, all right, no problem with that. 7, Jared Anderson, 17 wins, 1 defeat, 15 KOs, but hasn't been active lately and did get knocked out by Bacoli. At 8, Michael Hunter, again, why? I mean, he hasn't fought anyone for 5 years or whatever, 4 or 5 years. 9, Martin Bacoli, I've covered already. He's still in the top 10 with the IBF. And then at 10, Bakadir Jalalov, undefeated in 14 wins with 14 KOs. In his last fight looked terrible. Just fucking awful. Go and have a look at it. Was that one of the ones that was over in... No, I was going to say it was one of the ones on the recent African card, the Amir Khan promotion, but you know, whatever. So that's the IBF. Better than WBA? Couldn't be much worse, could it? What about the WBO? Let's have a look at that. Well, we know the champion is Usyk, of course. Who have they got as the number one contender? Drum roll, please. Moses Atauma. Oh, God. Why? I think I've asked that question about 5 minutes ago, or less than that, 2 minutes ago. Anyway, number 1, Moses Atauma, make of it what you will. Number 2, Filip Hrgović. 3 is Zhile Zhang, who I believe hasn't fought since he was knocked out by Ajit Kabayel. And where is Kabayel in all these rankings, by the way? Or Parker. Well, you know. Number 4, Lawrence Okoli. He's had, 2 fights at heavyweight? 3 fights? 2 fights at heavyweight. One at Bridgerweight, wasn't it? Did have a torn bicep, looked awful against Kevin Lorena. Prior to that, he had a 1-round knockout over a completely outgunned fighter, but that gets him at number 4 ranking, apparently. Number 5, Daniel Dubois. Not really a problem with that. That's okay. 6, Jared Anderson, again inactive. But 7, another inactive fighter, Anthony Joshua. He's been inactive for too long, and yet he's still number 7. 8, Derek Chisora, who you know all about. 9, Nelson Heiser. 18 wins, the Albanian heavyweight, 18, I mentioned him earlier, 18 wins with 16 KOs, no draws, no defeats. And 10, Bakadir Jalalov, again, looked bloody awful in his last fight. So no place for, off the top of my head, a Jagba. Torres Jr. has missed out of the 10 on that one. And you know. All right, what about the WBC? Are they going to rescue us? No, not really. Alexander Usyk is the champ. At number 1, who have they got number 1? Can you guess? I'll give you a clue. It's not Moses Atauma. It's Lawrence Okoli. Lawrence Okoli, the guy with 2 heavyweight contests. I think the reason for this is because it's probably because he was Bridgerweight champion. And if you move up a division as a champion with the WBC, you get ranked number 1 in the higher division. Don't ask me why, but you do. All right, so that might be why Okoli is there. And, of course, he's got connections to Queensbury, which always helps, doesn't it? Number 2, Daniel Dubois. All right. 3, Joshua, way too active to be ranked that highly, although he, former two-time European unified champ, very good fighter, but past his best certainly. 4, Moses Atauma, still too high for me, even though I love Atauma as a prospect, 20 years of age, fought no one, yet gets in there at number 4. 5, Filip Hrgovic. 6, Ajagba. 7, Bacoli. It's the usual suspects, isn't it? 8 is Frank Sanchez. All right, whatever. Make of it what you will. Do you think that Ajagba should be above Sanchez, who I believe has beaten him on points? That is Ajagba's only defeat. Do you think that Sanchez should be below Moses Atauma, 4 places below him? I don't. Do you think he should be below an inactive Anthony Joshua? Probably not. Number 9, Zhilei Zhang, inactive, knocked out in his last fight. All right. And number 10, and he does like this number 10 spot, doesn't he? Oh, Bakadir Jalilov, number 10 as well. Well, he did move down a couple of places, I think. But again, looked terrible in his last fight. So that is it. And again, if you want to pick a few names that are not ranked, I mean, put it this way, Derek Chisora isn't in the WBC's top 10, and yet he's highly ranked in 2 of the others. Richard Torres Jr. isn't in the top 10 there, not that he necessarily deserves to be. Jared Anderson isn't in their top 10. So there's all this, conjecture. It's all subjective, of course, but look, I know that it's subjective, but it's kind of like if you're watching a fight and you get, now of course scoring a fight is subjective. Depends what you're looking for. You have to be consistent with your criteria and so on. But sometimes when you get a decision, you go, what the hell were they looking at? Well, if these rankings were scorecards, you would be looking at all 4 of these sets of rankings and going, what the hell are they looking at? Terrible. Anyway, I thought I'd share the misery with you. What do you think? And by the way, with this TKO bullshit thing that Dana White and Turkey are trying to put together, this UFC style model, there'll be not another belt on the line, the Zuffa belt or whatever it's called, but there'll be 2 belts on the line. You know why? Because Turkey is probably going to make the Ring Magazine belt available to the winner of that silly little tournament. So that's even more belts. We need less belts, not more. And don't get me started on the interim belts and the regular belts and all these other worthless trinkets. Anyway, not a single mention of Ajit Kabayel, probably because he is an interim champ, not a mention. Is he an interim champ or a regular champ or some bullshit thing? Same with Joseph Parker. So they don't get ranked in other rankings, other ruling bodies' rankings. But this is all nonsensical. You don't need me to tell you that. But let me know what you think. And if you've got any theories as to how this mess can be resolved, or whether people should just perhaps ignore the ruling bodies, let me know. Let me know. All right. Thank you very much for your time. Please like the video if you liked it. Hit the like button. Hit subscribe if you're new. And I'm looking forward to reading your comments, but spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Bye for now.